Hey, yo, welcome back. What up? This is not a podcast. This is just my thoughts with Rob Markman. Now, if you've been listening to and enjoying Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist Alfredo too, then you may have noticed on Gas Station Sushi, Gibbs took a subliminal shot at Currency. And if you don't know the history, you're probably like, yo, who takes a shot at Currency? Spit it, don't bother nobody. Who's taking shots? So I'll break it all down for you. But first, please subscribe and like the video. I'm on the road to 100K. I need y'all to do that for me. And before I start, let me just say, I don't believe this is going to be some huge back and forth. As a matter of fact, Currency just dropped a new project on Friday. It's called 730. It's part of his Andretti series, right? In 2016, from September to December, he dropped a new tape on the 30th of each month. And, you know, so he's back to form. And on 730, he dropped the 730 tape. Do we get an 831? We got to see. And it's dope. I mean, if you're a Spitter fan, it is what you want. And on it, he doesn't seem bothered by Gibbs' lyrics in the least. So I don't think this is going to be a back and forth at all. So back to Gas Station Sushi, right? On it, Gibbs spit, could have ran that Fetti by myself, bitch, I'm the best without. That's a reference to the Gibbs Currency Alchemist 2018 project Fetti, a collaboration between all three of them. So in 2023, Currency dropped Vices, right? And on that project, he collaborated with Benny the Butcher and Jim Jones, two people who Gibbs have been known to be at odds with, actually have physical altercations with, and, you know, two rappers that he raps about them on Alfredo too as well. They get kind of, you know, some lyrics thrown their way. So the chances are high chances, extremely high chances that Currency didn't do that as a slight. I just don't see that. That's just not his character. He just don't be involving himself in any of the rap back and forths. You know what I'm saying? Like Currency has built a world for himself that he exists in. It's actually quite admirable to me that, you know, hip hop, everything that's going on in hip hop just doesn't really seem to affect Currency because he's built the world for himself, which I think is dope. So high chances, yes, he's worked with Gibbs and they got a joint album, and then he worked with Benny and Jim, and I just don't think that was a slight. I don't think he meant it as a slight. I don't even think he was paying attention or cares that much. Might not have even crossed his mind that could even be taken as a slight. That's how much in his own world Currency is. But a Twitter user, you know, a couple years back had noticed that and had wrote, "Damn, Currency Spitter fucking with all of Freddie Gibbs' enemies." So Gibbs responded, oh, and then he said, "Fucking with all his enemies, and guess we're not getting the Fetti too." And then Gibbs responded with, "We wasn't getting that shit regardless." And then he went on IG on his stories and he said, "This shitting on our project, didn't shoot one video or do one show. I ain't mad. I just subtracted him from the equation, and me and Al made another classic, went to the Grammys, end the story, rabbit emoji." So he's talking about the first Alfredo project. So this was like the start of it. So now on Gas Station Sushi, of course, we get Gibbs saying, you know, could have ran that Fetti by myself, bitch, I'm the best without. Now, Cash Fargo, a producer who works with Currency, went on IG and spoke up in defense of Spitter. And this was last week. And he posted a picture of a beat up Rabbit. Of course, Rabbit is one of Gibbs' aliases. And so Cash Fargo had wrote, "Stop fucking playing, little dude, for real, for real. Nobody else gonna say none because it ain't really about shit, but I'm gonna jump out there and say something. Not everybody is playing," in quotations, "and certain people around certain people will jump out there and do something to you behind you not watching your mouth. Just do your rapidy rap shit and stop trying to beat a dead horse, talking about shit from years and years ago to stir the pot to sell a project. Don't stir the pot over this way. They gonna be quiet like the real G's they is, but I'm a hothead. I'll do something to you, Rabbit." So that was Cash Fargo's post. Currency responded in the comments and said, "We ain't tripping, ha ha ha, send me some beats though." So there we are. You know what I'm saying? Like again, Spitter just doesn't seem like somebody who would involve himself in something like this. In the 2018 Rap Radar interview with Elliot Wilson and B. Dot, B-Dot asked Currency how Fetti came about. And Spitter basically said that he did the tape with Freddie Gibbs after Gibbs kind of challenged him and told him, yo, like basically like, yo, why don't you stop smoking that weed so we could get this tape done? And so I'll just run the clip.
Me and Freddie Gibbs bumped into each other in Chicago 2 years after we said we were going to do the tape. And he tells me, Spitter, why don't you quit smoking weed so we could get the tape done? Like the weed is what was stopping, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I immediately went to the studio with a copious amount of weed and got all the records done that day. And I sent them back to him, and then I was waiting for him.
Oh, the challenge.
Absolutely.
Challenge.
Yeah, I
So
did. I sent
competitive.
them 7 records. I sent them 7 records the next day. You don't tell me about quit smoking weed. I smoked weed, I sent 7 records to him.
I thought you guys did this in 2 days, though.
Yeah, 2 days.
Oh, okay.
I sent 7 that day. And he sent back that 7 with his verses on it, and he sent me some records.
Why was
and
he
I
on
put
you
mine
about
on
smoking?
those. I think that he thought the weed had control of me for 2 years, and that's why we hadn't done the tape. And it just was because we were both just doing our thing.
So according to Currency, you know, he did his part of the tape in 2 days with a large amount of weed to prove to Gibbs that the weed wasn't holding him back, and that was like the impetus behind that tape. And you know, of course, too, there was the song on GTA, and then that spurred the idea for the tape, and then that's how the tape came together. But there you have it. Now, should Currency respond? Does he have to? I'm gonna say no. On one hand, this is hip hop, and we know anybody can get it. But the most important thing for Currency to do is to stay true to who he is, right? Like, if he doesn't respond, I'm not looking at Spitter differently, because that's just not what Spitter does. That's not what he's known for. You might feel different. And then listening to the 730 project, I mean, there's the perfect response from Spitter. Not that he did this for Gibbs, he was going to do this anyway. But the perfect response for Spitter is just doing what he does, just doing what he's known to do. You know what I'm saying? And I know a couple of people are like, well, I saw some people on social media equate this to like the Pusha T, Travis Scott situation. Like, and I didn't think Travis had to respond either. I didn't care if Travis responded or not. You know what I'm saying? That's not what Travis does. And then Travis did respond to Pusha T on the Jack Boys 2 project, and it went great. So I don't know that that's gonna go much further than what it is. So you know, it is hip hop. And anybody can get called out, so I'm not, you know, Currency isn't special in that way. Like, you know, somebody might throw some bars at you, but you get to control how you react. So Spitter gets to control how he reacts, and the thing that has made Spitter successful is this world he's built for himself. And if he chooses to respond, I respect it, but I don't feel no way if he does it. I just don't look to Currency for that. So, but it'll be interesting. But like I said, I don't think anything is coming from this. Those are just my thoughts. Hit me in the comments. Let me know what you think. All right. Like, subscribe, do all that. Till the next time. We're going to have a lot of videos. I'm going to turn it up for you. All right. Peace.